Late Nigeria Chief of Army Staff, Lieutenant General Taoreed Lagbaja is no doubt a very important figure whose names needed being mentioned in the ongoing guerrilla war in the southeastern states of the country when on April 24, 2021, as the General Officer commanding 82 Division of the Nigerian Army initiated plans and killed the suspected head of unknown gunmen, Ikonso, whom indigenous people of Biafra, IPOB identified as the commander of its armed affiliate, Eastern Security Network, ESN, an action which escalated the security tension in the geopolitical zone into ongoing current war between the Biafra secessionist armed group and the armed forces of Nigeria, with both sides recording hundreds of casualties including civilian deaths before Lagbaja was redeployed to Kaduna as GOC, 1 Division in August 2022 to war bandits and terrorists in the northwest states. Lagbaja resumed duty as GOC, 82 Division in Enugu on the 12th of March 2021. And few weeks after, on April 5, 2021, Ikonso allegedly led armed group to attack Imo State Prison and set free over 1,800 inmates without killing any security operative, an action IPOB described as a set-up or a trap by government to have reason to kill innocent people in Biafra land. According to reports, the unknown gunmen executed the prison break at Owerri Correctional Facility on April 5, 2021, for 3 hours without any resistance from the government's security operatives. Some weeks after, Ikonso was killed on April 24, 2021 by security operatives in a joint raid of the ESN in Awomama, Oru local government area of Imo State. The then coerced Lieutenant General Ibrahim Atahiru, who later died in plane crash, commanded the Nigerian soldiers, the police IRT and the SS operatives for killing the ESN commander, Ikonsodon, in Imo State. He praised them for making the operation a success. Soon, the Biafra secessionist armed group called its men to verse, and a video posted online in 2021 showed thousands of the armed group bending their heads downward to receive a commanding instruction to start attacking security facilities and killing security operatives in the southeastern states. Owerri prison, attacked under Lagbaja as the GOC 82 Division, is strategically located near Imo State's government house, state police headquarters, and 34 Artillery Brigade, Obinze, with reports indicating there was little or no swift response mounted by security agencies, including nearby State Police Command, armed prison personnel, or government house security, despite the proximity of high-ranking military officers living 5 poles away from Owerri prison. Although the 5 governors of Southeast states paid tributes to Lieutenant General Taoreed Lagbaja after President Bola Ahmed Tinubu announced his death, but none of the 5 governors specifically mentioned the achievements of Lagbaja in their various states when the late course was the GOC 82 Division for more than 1 year in the region. Governor Hope Uzodinma of Imo State, in his words of tribute to Lagbaja, said, "On behalf of the government and the good people of Imo State, I extend our deepest condolences to His Excellency, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, the Chief of Defense Staff, the Nigerian Army, and the entire Nigerian military, over the untimely demise of our esteemed Chief of Army Staff, Lieutenant General Taoreed Abiodun Lagbaja." Lieutenant General Lagbaja was a pragmatic leader whose dedication and commitment to duty redefined the Nigerian Army's efficiency and professionalism. His leadership and strategies invigorated the institution, raising the bar in discipline and operational effectiveness. He was a man who came, saw, and conquered, leaving an indelible mark on the armed forces and the security landscape of Nigeria. This loss is a significant blow, not just to the military but to the entire nation. We join in prayers for his family, trusting that God Almighty will grant them the fortitude to endure this irreplaceable loss and comfort them in their grief. May his soul find eternal peace, and may his legacy continue to inspire all who serve this great nation. Governor Peter Ndubisi Mba of Enugu State, in his tribute, said, "I received with a deep sense of loss the sad news of the passing of the Chief of the Army Staff, Lieutenant General Taoreed Lagbaja. This is a grave loss to not only the Nigerian Army and the entire nation, but also a personal loss to the government and good people of Enugu State, where he served as the General Officer commanding GOC 82 Division, Nigerian Army, from March 2021 to August 2022. He was a distinguished officer who saw it all and deservedly rose to the apex of his chosen career. From the Armed Forces Command and Staff College, Jaji, to the United Nations Mission in the Democratic Republic of Congo, MONUC, the various Army high commands he superintended, and ultimately as the Chief of the Army Staff, General Lagbaja distinguished himself as a consummate academic, gallant officer, quintessential leader, and patriot. It is also worthy of mention that as Chief of the Army Staff, he lent his total support to our administration's fight against insecurity, without which the tremendous successes we have recorded in that regard could not have been possible. On behalf of the government and good people of Enugu State, I convey our heartfelt condolences to the President, Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces, Senator Bola Ahmed Tinubu, GCFR, the Nigerian Army and Security Services, his immediate family, and the government and good people of Osun State, and pray God to grant his soul a peaceful repose. Governor Charles Soludo of Anambra State, while paying tribute to the late Chief of Army Staff in a news statement issued by his media spokesperson, Christian Aburime, stated in quote that, the Governor of Anambra State, Professor Chukwuma Charles Soludo, CFR, has expressed profound sadness on the death of Lieutenant General Taurid Abiodun Lagbaja, Chief of Army Staff of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, on Tuesday at the age of 56. In his condolence message, Governor Soludo extended his deepest condolences to His Excellency, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, GCFR, Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces, the Nigerian Army, and the bereaved family of the late General Lagbaja on this irreparable loss. The governor further described General Lagbaja's untimely departure at the age of 56 as a huge loss to the Nigerian Army and the nation in general. The governor reiterated that General Lagbaja's distinguished military career, marked by his exceptional service and dedication to our nation's security, serves as a tribute to his uncompromising commitment to Nigeria's unity and progress. As an alumnus of the prestigious U.S. Army War College, General Lagbaja brought unparalleled expertise to his role, serving with distinction in various capacities, including as platoon commander in the 93 Battalion and the 72 Special Forces Battalion. His leadership in critical internal security operations, from Operation Zaki in Benue State to Operations Lafiado, Udoka, and Forest Sanity, further demonstrated his tactical acumen and relentless dedication to Nigeria's peace and stability. Governor Soludo, therefore, prays that the Almighty God grant the late General's soul eternal rest and give his family the solace to bear this great loss. Governor Francis Nwaifuru of Ebonyi State, lastly, in his tribute to Lagbaja, as contained in press release made available by the Governor's Chief Press Secretary, Monday Uzo, said, the Governor of Ebonyi State, Francis Ogboina Nwaifuru, has described the death of the former Chief of Army Staff, Lieutenant General Taurid Lagbaja, as a colossal loss to the Nigerian Army and the nation. He said the late Army Chief throughout his career demonstrated courage, resilience, and an unyielding commitment to safeguarding the nation. It is with a heavy heart and profound sorrow that I learnt of the passing of the Chief of Army Staff, Lieutenant Taurid Lagbaja, who died at 56. It is sad that the nation mourns the loss of a true patriot and leader whose service and dedication to the armed forces and to the protection of our homeland remain immeasurable, especially in the wake of terrorism, banditry, and armed conflict in some parts of the country. According to the governor, the vision and leadership of Lieutenant General Lagbaja strengthened the Nigerian military and inspired countless men and women to serve with honor and integrity. While consoling the President and Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces, Senator Bola Ahmed Tinubu, over the death of the late Army Chief, Governor Nwaifuru says, the legacy of service which characterized the eventful tenure of the late Coas will endure in the hearts of those who knew him, and his sacrifice will not be forgotten. The governor, who also extended his condolences to the Lagbaja family, urged mourners to remember the late army helmsman not only as a dedicated leader, but as a compassionate officer who touched the lives of all who had the privilege to work with him. Meanwhile, the achievements of the late Chief of Army Staff, Lieutenant General Taoreed Lagbaja, in the northwestern states when he left southeast to Kaduna as the Gok 1 Division of the Nigerian Army in August 2022 is captured by Samuel Arwan, a journalist and Kaduna State Commissioner of Internal Security and Home Affairs, in words of tribute titled, "A Soldier on a Mission, Lieutenant General Lagbaja." Excerpts of the tribute reads below in full. In July 2022, the Nigerian Army under the leadership of Lieutenant General Farouk Yahaya approved the postings and appointments of senior officers as part of efforts to reposition the Army for enhanced operational efficiency. In that regard, the then Major General Taoreed Abiodun Lagbaja, at the time the General Officer commanding 82 Division, was redeployed to Kaduna as the new GOC of the Premier Division. The outgoing GOC, Major General Kabi Imam Mukhtar, was a very kind, supportive and hardworking senior officer with whom we had hitherto enjoyed a harmonious working relationship, making impressive strides in the campaign against banditry. General Mukhtar informed me of Lagbaja's impending arrival, while telling me of his own posting to the Nigerian Army Resource Center as a fellow. As we exchanged our best wishes, he sent me Lagbaja's phone number so that we could get acquainted ahead of the handover on the 8th of August, 2022. Upon his official resumption, I sent General Lagbaja a text. "Greetings and welcome to Kaduna, General." Only moments after, Lagbaja called and said, "Well done, my brother. General Mukhtar briefed me about you. We will see when I return from Enugu." We met on his return. I have encountered an array of prominent persons, and, call it a journalist's instinct, I have learned to sense an aura. On that first meeting, General Lagbaja radiated a quiet sincerity and steely resolve. He came across to me as a man on a mission. Also, perhaps on a superstitious note, I found it a bit satisfying that a member of the 39 regular corps was assuming office as the 39th Gok of 1 Division. At that first meeting, we had extensive discussions about the bandit attacks on Federal College of Forestry Mechanization, Greenfield University, Bethel Baptist School, Nigerian Defense Academy, the Kaduna-Abuja Road, Kaduna-Benin-Gwari Road and the vicinity of the Kaduna International Airport. We also reviewed the security situation in Benin-Gwari, Kidandan, Yadi, Gwagwada, Udawa, Dambakashaya, Buruku, Riyawa and Sabon Bini general areas and the southern Kaduna corridor. We surveyed the existing profiles of key bandit kingpins and the terrorists operating in the state at the time. We revisited the developments leading up to the attack on the Kaduna-bound train from Abuja, especially the warning signs and security advisories. As I wrapped up what would be the first of several meetings with Ebon, as I fondly called him, I was struck by his sincere desire to confront the situation directly. I briefed the then Governor Nasir El-Rufai on the new GOC's arrival and on the details of our meeting. We then planned his introductory visit to the governor, after which he commenced work in earnest. From his first day in Kaduna, General Lagbaja portrayed clearly that he was not an officer given too much talk. He was for focused and committed action. He was a field officer to the core. His commitment to leading from the front was a great source of motivation to the officers and men of his command. His impact was immediate. In the days following his arrival, the momentum of military efforts against bandits and terrorists was intensified. Operations were sharper and more intelligence-driven on all sides. General Lagbaja had one clear idea, and that was to put bandits and insurgents on the run, and not the other way around. He transmitted this energy right through to the fighting forces. Troops advanced to every flashpoint, and swept criminal enclaves with relentless ferocity. This push led to such a flurry of breakthroughs, bandits neutralized, victims rescued and recoveries made, that I could barely keep up with his quick succession of operational feedbacks. I recall the rescue of 6 women around the Kuriga Manini general area, among several other such operations to free victims held hostage in putrid bandit camps. The rescue of 10 chained hostages after a fierce gun battle at Daban Kolba was another such breakthrough. The terrorist enclave was totally destroyed and many bandits were neutralized. In early September 2022, we received intelligence of a notorious bandit and his companions moving to attack the Kaduna-Abuja road. It was Lagbaja's characteristic lightning response which so many of those bandits dispatched. The said kingpin himself only escaped by a hair's breadth. Lagbaja came to Kaduna with a sense of purpose. He keyed seamlessly into the government's dedication and desire to confront banditry, and this birthed a very productive synergy. The exploits I have recounted came merely days after he assumed command. As a matter of fact, a marked and measurable improvement in the security situation was soon observed across the state. The Kaduna-Abuja road was previously a nightmare for many travelers. With General Lagbaja's dedication, it became secure and commuters could once again travel the route with a normal heart rate. He also boosted inter-agency collaboration a great deal. This was particularly important as we approached the 2023 elections with its own special brand of uncertainty. There were threats by bandits and terrorists aiming to cripple elections in some flashpoint locations like Balingwari, Giwa, Chikun, Igabi, Kachia, Kajuru, Zangon Kataf and other local government areas. There were equally assertions from the usual naysayers that the elections in Kaduna State would be marred with violence. With this in mind, we embarked on scenario building from our real-time intelligence collection. This formed the basis for massive covert operations in 2022, spilling into 2023. We devised clear plans for different areas. The military responded promptly, supporting the police from the rear to address challenges before and during the campaigns, during elections, and of course after. Multidimensional threats were quelled, and with Lagbaja's exceptional operational capability, Kaduna remained peaceful. Bear in mind, he was also supervising Kano, Niger and Jigawa states. All the states under his area of responsibility, AOR, were calm, contrary to the dark predictions. In some of my engagements with General Lagbaja, we discussed government's intelligence gathering efforts on the threat of banditry and terrorism in Kaduna State, following the train attack in March of 2022. We had made several trips to foster collaboration with other states, and to build a better understanding of the links between bandits and other networks. He gratefully took in the findings which I shared with him. Indeed, after the train attack, the military high command had deployed the 402 Special Forces Brigade to Kaduna, under the leadership of Brigadier General E.U. Effiong, another diligent officer. He in turn led 2 commanding officers, Lieutenant Colonel Manga and Lieutenant Colonel Ali, now of blessed memory, in charge of the 198 and 134 Special Forces battalions. These were eventually boosted by the arrival of the 167 Special Forces Battalion from Giri led by Major T.E. Ezonfred, and Defense Headquarters, Special Forces led by Major S.A. Oni of blessed memory. These formations were now part of General Lagbaja's machinery as GOC and Force Commander. Added to these were the ground and air component of Operation Well Punch, from the repurposed and revamped Operation Thunder Strike, as well as a smooth collaborative platform with other security agencies. This system was buoyed by the robust human intelligence network we had built over time. Lagbaja utilized these tools with aplomb. By the 12th of August 2022, only 4 days after his resumption, troops under his command had advanced to a terrorist enclave at Galbi General Area of Chikun Local Government Area. An initial surge of resistance was surmounted, and the troops crossed a river to overpower their adversary. 13 of the terrorists were taken out. A significant stash of arms and several motorcycles were recovered from the lair. Lagbaja's uncommon work ethic was in full flow. At about that time, I was scheduled to meet with him, precisely at 3 p.m. on the 14th of August 2022 to review some new intelligence. Somehow I could not reach him on the phone. I would later find out he had gleefully spent the night with the troops who had recorded the success at Galbi. It was in the afternoon of the 15th of August 2022 that I got his message. Good afternoon, Honorable Commissioner. I'm just leaving Galbi and arriving Gwagwada now. Please let's meet in my office by 11 o'clock hours tomorrow. This man had been in the bush destroying bandit camps with his troops. Shortly after I got his message, however, I received another piece of credible intelligence about some bandits moving to attack the Kasarami portion of the Kaduna-Abuja road. Aware that Lagbaja was in that vicinity, I quickly forwarded the details of the intel to him. Making a swift detour, he led his troops to the location and it became a bumper harvest as the bandits walked right into their ambush and were wiped out. We quickly agreed that the breakthrough should not be publicized, in the belief that more bandits with similar designs might be likewise eliminated. Troops were strategically and discreetly positioned at notable crossing points on the route. By early April 2023, we were cruising and our work was prolific. Lagbaja had his ebullient and no-nonsense garrison commander, Brigadier General Chibweze Ogbuabu. Together we were consolidating the success and improved security during and after the elections. Then came the news that Lagbaja has been posted out to the army headquarters as Chief of Operations. In a straight swap, the Chief of Operations, Major General Olufemi Akinjobi, would move to Kaduna to succeed him as GOC. We knew it was the nature of the job. Nevertheless, we were quite emotional to find that our brief but rewarding time was drawing to an end. General Lagbaja had won the hearts and minds of citizens in frontline areas with his reputation as an action man. More so, out of our ready partnership had grown a firm friendship. Even with this development, he never slowed down. In the days leading up to his exit from Kaduna, Lagbaja recorded more feats that I can recount here. A high-profile gun runner was intercepted on the Polewaya axis of Kaduna-Benin-Gwari Road with more than 2,000 rounds of various grades of ammunition, along with 5 empty AK-47 magazines, concealed in different compartments of a Toyota Corolla. In another intelligence-driven operation, a notorious bandit and 2 of his foot soldiers were taken out around the Kaduna International Airport general area. In the 249 days General Lagbaja spent as GOC 1 Division and Force Commander of Operation Well Punch, 147 armed criminals were taken out in the course of contact with security forces across the state. This includes several notorious bandits. When added to the scores neutralized by the air component, that statistic will nearly double. The operations coordinated by Lagbaja also resulted in the rescue of 210 kidnapped victims from various camps, enclaves and frontline locations. His troops made tremendous recoveries in that period as the decimated hideout after hideout, over 100 firearms, thousands of rounds of ammunition and scores of motorcycles. Essentially, General Lagbaja brought a unique energy to anti-banditry and anti-terrorism operations in Kaduna State. His style could be likened to a high press, taking the battle to the criminals and constantly setting them on the back foot. The heat of Lagbaja's high-intensity operations also pressurized several notable terrorists into surrender. After Lagbaja left Kaduna and resumed as Chief of Operations at the Army Headquarters, I paid him a visit on the 20th of April 2023. As usual, we had a good conversation and I thanked him for all that he had done for the security and peace of Kaduna State. We kept in touch until his appointment as the Chief of Army Staff on the 19th of June 2023, alongside the Chief of Defense Staff and other service chiefs. On assumption of what would be his final office, the delegation from Kaduna State led by Governor Ubasani was the first to visit the defense headquarters to felicitate with the CDS and the newly minted service chiefs. For us, it was a great day spent with the Army Chief as he espoused his command philosophy of transforming the Nigerian Army into a well-trained, equipped, and highly effective force to fulfill its constitutional responsibilities in a joint environment. Some months later, we went through a very trying experience with the unfortunate Tudunbiri aero bombing which occurred on the 3rd of December 2023. While managing the tragic situation, I was in touch with Lagbaja all through that night until his arrival at Tudunbiri. Later on we had a meeting at the lounge of the Kaduna International Airport. Amidst the collective tension of planning an effective response and evacuation of the wounded to hospital, General Lagbaja requested that I introduce him to the stakeholders we had assembled. He spoke with them and appreciated their interventions. It was a similar scenario when the Kuriga school kidnapping occurred in March 2024. Once again we worked frantically together until the abducted children were secured. The GOC, 1 Division, Major General MLD Saraso handed over the pupils to Governor Ubasani. I recall our outing at the Nigerian Army Combat Arms Week. In my remarks on behalf of Governor Sani, I stated how proud and privileged I felt to have worked with 2 general officers commanding GOCs of 1 division who eventually became Chiefs of Army Staff, Lieutenant General Farouk Yahaya and of course Lieutenant General Taurid Lagbaja. Much more than the effusive applause of those present, I came to value that moment as one in which I publicly gave him his flowers. Our last engagement before he took ill was in connection with the protests in August. General Lagbaja followed events in Kaduna studiously and also forwarded some key feedback before the 24-hour curfew imposed by Governor Sani, which gave security forces an edge. We did not get to meet at the Nigerian Defense Academy's passing out parade in September. Still, I kept contact with him, earnestly praying for his recovery. Sadly, it was not to be. God called the general to rest last week. Lieutenant General Taurid Abiodun Lagbaja was indeed a man on a mission to lead. And truly, he led his beloved Nigerian army the one way he knew how, from the front. With his quiet sincerity, commitment and steely determination, he left his mark, I am grateful to point out, very strongly on the security landscape of Kaduna State. It is said that the blood of battle is thicker than the water of the womb. My time with General T.A. Lagbaja in Kaduna, in the heated crucible of security management, brought us together in a brief but veritable brotherhood. In this grayness of grief, I am grateful for the friendship he so readily extended. I mourn the passing of not just an outstanding military leader, but of my Egwon. All too soon, his watch is over, but Nigeria will not forget this general. Neither will Kaduna State, and nor, for that matter, will I. Regrettably, I am unable to physically condole with his family, being sick and on admission myself at the time of writing. May Lieutenant General T.A. Lagbaja's soul rest in peace. May God reward his works, and bless his legacy.
Osazuwa Connedo, bringing you the news in a more digital way.